rest stop warning, There's something about driving at night that feels different. The darkness changes everything. The road feels endless, the silence becomes heavy, and every shadow seems to hold a secret. 2 years ago, I learned just how dangerous those late-night drives can be. What started as a simple trip home turned into a night I'll never forget. If you're planning to take a road trip, especially at night, listen closely. My story might just save your life. It was late October, one of those crisp Midwest nights when the air smells like fallen leaves and the chill seeps into your bones. I just attended a friend's wedding up in Madison, Wisconsin. The reception had been fun, plenty of drinks, dancing, the works, but by the time I said my goodbyes and hit the road, it was already close to midnight. I was driving my 2015 Ford Fusion, the reliable car that had been with me through countless road trips. My plan was simple: take I-90 for southbound back to Chicago, about a 3-hour drive. I figured driving late at night would mean no traffic, just open roads and a quick ride home. But as the miles stretched on, fatigue started creeping in. You know that feeling, the way your eyes start to burn, the steering wheel feels heavier, and even your favorite music can't keep you alert. By the time I hit mile marker 250 just outside a small town called Lake Mills, I knew I had to pull over. That's when I saw the sign, rest stop, 1 mile ahead. I sighed in relief. Wasn't looking for anything fancy, just a quick stop to stretch my legs, grab some coffee, and maybe splash some cold water on my face. The rest stop was small, one of those no-frills places with a vending machine area and a couple of picnic benches. Under dim street lights, I pulled into the lot and parked my car near the building. The place was eerily quiet, save for the distant hum of the highway. There were only a few other cars parked there, their occupants either asleep or inside. As I stepped out of my car, I noticed him. Sitting on a weathered wooden bench under one of the flickering streetlights was an older man. He looked like he was in his late 60s or early 70s, with a long beige coat and one of those flat caps you see older men wearing. His posture was stiff and he was staring right at me. At first, I thought maybe he was waiting for someone, but as I walked toward the rest stop building, his gaze didn't waver. It was unsettling, to say the least. I tried to ignore him and kept walking, but as I passed by, he muttered something. It was so quiet I almost didn't catch it. "Be careful of the one watching," he said. I froze, turning back to him. "Excuse me?" I asked, thinking I must have misheard. He didn't respond. He just looked at me with this blank, almost lifeless expression, like he wasn't all there. I felt a chill run down my spine. Was he warning me? Or was he just some confused old man rambling nonsense? Either way, I didn't stick around to find out. Inside, the place was just as desolate as the parking lot. Harsh fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting long shadows across the tiled floor. There were a couple of vending machines in one corner and a coffee dispenser that looked older than I was. I poured myself a cup of lukewarm coffee, took a few sips, and tried to shake off the weird encounter with the man outside. But his words kept playing in my head. Be careful of the one watching. The rest stop felt colder than it should have, like the kind of place where time stands still. I didn't want to linger, so I headed back to my car. When I stepped outside, the bench was empty. The man was gone. I got back on I-94, the caffeine doing little to fight off the lingering unease. For the first half hour, the road was empty, just me and the occasional semi-truck barreling past. But then I noticed something strange, headlights in my rearview mirror. At first, I didn't think much of it, just another car heading the same way. But after a few minutes, I realized the car was matching my speed, staying just far enough behind that I couldn't make out the make or model. I switched lanes. So did they. I sped up. They sped up. I slowed down, hoping they'd pass me, but they didn't. By now, my heart was pounding. Was I being followed? I told myself I was just being paranoid. Maybe they were just another tired driver heading home like me. But something about the way they were keeping pace with me felt deliberate. After about 15 miles of this strange game of cat and mouse, the car suddenly sped up and passed me on the left. It was a dark SUV, maybe a black Chevy Tahoe or something similar. As it passed, I caught a glimpse of the driver. A man, probably in his 30s or 40s, wearing a baseball cap. He didn't look at me, didn't even glance my way. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. Maybe I was all in my head. But about 20 minutes later, when I pulled off the highway to stop for gas at a station near the town of Greny, Illinois, my blood ran cold. The same SUV was parked a few pumps over. I stayed in my car for a moment watching. The driver was just sitting there, engine running, like he was waiting for something. My gut told me to leave. Forget the gas. Forget everything. Just keep driving. But I was running on fumes and I didn't have a choice. I stepped out, keeping my head low, and started pumping gas. My eyes darted to the SUV every few seconds. The driver didn't move, didn't get out, didn't do anything. Finally, my tank was full. I got back in my car, heart racing, and sped out of the station without even looking back. The rest of the drive home was a blur. I didn't see the SUV again, but the unease lingered long after I pulled into my driveway in Chicago. Who was that man at the rest stop? What did he mean by be careful of the one watching? Was it just a coincidence that the SUV had followed me? I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to know. But one thing's for sure, I haven't stopped at a rest stop at night since. Have you ever experienced something like this? A strange encounter on the road? A warning you couldn't explain? Share your story in the comments below. You never know, it might be featured in a future video. Subscribe for more true horror stories. New videos every day featuring real, chilling tales from Reddit and beyond.